So, in the meantime, you can try turning it off and turn it back on. See if
Okay.
It's time to call meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Union City Community Schools Board meeting. Our meeting agenda is available for you to follow. The expectation for our board meeting is to follow this agenda closely. We operate under the Open Meetings Act and utilize Robert's Rules of Order to govern our discussion and decision-making process. There is an opportunity for public comment during your set agenda. We welcome the public to express their opinions during this time of our agenda. If there are questions about the agenda or the board meeting process, please seek out one of the board members for clarification. Do we have any addition or deletion items to the agenda? I thought you had an addition.
You got it.
Motion carries. Next is correspondence. Did we have any this evening? Okay. Our next item is comments from the audience, our public comments section. This is a section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about items on the agenda. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do we have anyone that wants to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to our action items. The first item is we are going to need to adjourn to a closed session to hear a petition for reinstatement. I would entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries, and we will go into closed session. If you don't mind stepping out while we go through this, we will let you know when we are ready to come back into session. at the same time.
I like that. You are broadcasting again.
Thank
We are-
you.
We are live.
Yeah, he's up. Maybe he's worried what he's going to hear. When he has to interview. Okay, I will entertain a motion to go back into open session. Paul already said it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear Paul ever, so it doesn't make
I
any
thought,
difference.
didn't Paul make the motion?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
So I
who's
need
supporting?
support.
I support it.
Jeremy,
Oh, okay.
thank you.
I heard Jeremy and Darren on that one.
Make a motion. I'm making a motion to give Paul a megaphone so that I can hear him.
All right, any discussion?
I'll pay for it.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. We're back in open session. Our next action item is the petition for reinstatement. And board action is required to approve a petition for reinstatement for the student, and I would now entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to reinstate the student under a few certain circumstances, one of which is a modification to the plan that was proposed to include a minimum of 2 weeks before interaction with other students, at which point the student would work with the staff and the social worker, etc., before that student would be admitted back in per the plan that we had seen before. In addition, I also request that part of my petition would be that, or the part of my motion would be that if we increase the time that the student is here in the building, that would go before the board for further review before we would increase that. Support.
Discussion.
I think it's really important that we have also, and it was set, I asked the question, so they said it was in there, but there's very little room for error here, so I think the student and his guardian and others understand that. This is a decision we're not taking lightly, but we want to make sure that it's very clear that we can't put up with anything that puts our students at risk or anything like that. So.
Totally understand.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Our next item is our financials. Board action is required to approve the financials for the month ending July 31st, 2025. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved. Support.
Discussion?
Thanks for putting the notes on there, Sarah. I mean, business manager.
Any other discussion?
Question. When do we get the money for the grant, or the big grant? You know that?
The big grant?
Right.
The big grant is done through reimbursement of expenses.
Okay.
So whenever we get an invoice, we send the invoice to our contact at the state. Excuse me. And then they will make it so that that amount comes in our next state aid payment. They did tell us that if we have a cash flow situation and we need something quick, that it's possible they could get us the money right away if that's necessary in order to pay the invoice. But usually with having a month, we shouldn't have a problem. Is that correct, Sarah? Got it right. Wow.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up is our resolution for millage levy. Board action is required to approve the updated 2025 tax millage rate request report to County Board of Commissioners. And do I need to read the whole thing out loud? Okay. All right. So basically, it's so that we will
Reduce this thing.
reduce. Thank you. Reduce by the amount that we felt that we could do, and that we were committed to before we had our bond passed. So I will entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Support.
I think it's important to emphasize anybody watching that this is the board fulfilling their promise
Correct.
made that if the bond passed, that the sinking fund would be reduced, and you're following through on that.
Exactly. Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
This would have to happen every year then, this vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Glad we have the opportunity to do our part.
I
to
know.
Help with this process.
Everyone did their part and now
This
we
is
can
an
do
easy vote.
ours. Yes,
It's an easy vote.
it is.
We're helping.
It is. It's a very exciting vote.
And this is also the time to talk about how happy we are that this is our first meeting since it passed, so.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
It is really exciting.
And to thank the community for
Yes.
supporting it.
Yes.
Because it is gonna make a huge difference for the children in this district for many years to come.
Yes. I keep telling everybody there's good things happening in Union City, and
Right.
I'm very proud to say that because I think that they are. And I couldn't wipe the smile off my face for quite a while after we got the results of that.
58%, I was thrilled
Yeah.
to have that high percentage.
As I've said to other people, I'd have been happy if it was by one vote, but I'm good. It's good. All right. Any other discussion? As this is a resolution, Kelly, I would like you to call the roll, please.
Arlt,
Yes.
Mears,
Yes.
Labar,
Yes.
Yaki,
Yes.
Steele,
Yes.
Gauchi,
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah. Whew.
Taxes low.
Big breath of relief. All right. Next up, retirement. Board action is required to accept the retirement of Chris Katz, superintendent, effective August 31st, 2025, after 40 years. And I will entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
Anything else you wanted, any words of wisdom you want to pass on before your last day of school here? You got the floor.
I've already tried. They're tired of hearing me about my nonsense.
No, you did a good one earlier today.
I tried.
That resonated with me at least.
So, no, I don't have anything else to say. Just that what I said in my letter is true, and I don't think people. I've always thought about it this way, and I know some people don't. But my family, everything we have, almost everything we have, was bought from money from this place, and I hope I have returned fair value for that. I've tried to. It is supposed to be a fair exchange, one for the other. And so I'm very grateful for being able to come back here and work here in the place I grew up. And it's been a real pleasure. And the last 4 years have been sort of the cherry on top to that. So.
I've only been on the board a year, but I think this bond, and it's a great exclamation point at the end of your long career. So it's a great legacy that you're leaving behind. So.
There's been some votes I've regretted, but I don't regret picking you, so thanks for doing this. Appreciate working with you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. The next item up is another retirement that I really don't want to entertain a motion for, but I'm gonna. I know, right?
Just up a little bit.
Boom, boom.
Maybe next month.
Board action is required to accept the retirement of Kelly Moody, effective December 31st. And Kelly's been with the school for 30 years.
So moved.
Support.
Kelly, do you have any words of wisdom?
I said, you're stuck with me for a while anyway.
Yeah, it's not like
Only
we're saying
for a
goodbye
bit.
tonight or anything like that. We still got you around for a little while. I don't know what I'm going to do without my Robert's Rules of Order person, because I know you know. So,
We get a lot, but yeah.
oh, I just think you know it.
No, I do. I think I've learned a lot over the years. I can tell you that, but there's a lot to that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are relaxed about that for the most part, and we feel like we're doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
I would like to add something.
Sure.
I cannot imagine having done this job without having Kelly in the
She's
office.
the power behind the power.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I told anybody that would listen to me several years ago that if she went, I was going. So it just
So it's her
ended
fault.
up happening. I beat her out the door, but
Like 8
this way,
seconds.
this way,
Yeah.
she'll have 4. I don't know if she can. I think it took her about a year to train me, so maybe she can train Patrick in 4 months. We'll see.
Right.
So we're hiring 2 secretaries to replace.
Probably
Yeah.
wind up, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up, purchase of electric buses. Board action is required to approve the purchase of 6 electric buses from Hoekstra for the amount of $2,360,628. This is fully covered by a grant. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved. Support.
Discussion?
So, just for clarification, the charging stations are separate, but we're paying for those out of pocket. And there was a question about the power from the school, the city too, that I was
Okay,
worried
so yes, the charging equipment will be separate, but we're not paying for those out of pocket. That'll be paid also through grant funds. The last of the grant funds, though we won't be awarded, that's that second round that will come in December. And we've been, because we were with Lime, we've been put at the top of the list for that, so we should get that money in December to pay for that equipment. We were getting us quotes on the charging equipment. I spoke with Sarah, did most of the legwork early up on that to try to put the different companies together. So we had bids through a Sourcewell for a couple of them, and we had a third bid, a company that's worked with Hoekstra quite a bit. We would need to plan site visits and do an RFP, but what came out of the discussions I had with them over the past week was that they had given us a lead time of about 12 months, they said, to get, we needed to get the charging equipment because that was harder to get than the buses. It turns out it's not the charging equipment, it's the transformer that the village will have to get is the difficult piece. The charging equipment, the companies all told me within 30 to 60 days they could have that here and installed. So we have some more time to wait on that, so we didn't have to rush and try to get that ordered right away. And so when I learned that, I slowed that down right away. And then the last vendor I spoke to, again, who was and I'm trying to remember the company name, the one that had worked with Hoekstra, he was the only one that basically said to me, because we talked about the possibility of if we had enough funds from the bond that we might try to, or if the board decided otherwise, to use some of the money we were going to spend on buses to build a building to house these, to keep them, that we could use for all time, or for at least 30 years going forward, or however long it takes to house the buses out of the cold. That if we were going to do that, that whoever's doing the electrician doing the work for that building, they could just order the equipment and have it installed. And we would not need to hire one of these other contractors to do it. These contractors specialize in installing these stations for charging for buses, but they don't make the chargers. They just buy them from someone else. They put together what you need, and they come in and put in concrete or whatever to put them on. But if we're going to build a building, we can just put that as part of the bid for the electrician at that point. So I think it's wise that we delayed that for at least a while until we get further into the process of our construction to know how much money is available and see if we want to try to move ahead with a building soon, or if we want to hire one of these companies to put them in short term, and then if a building becomes available, they could be moved. And so that's decisions to be made down the road, probably 3 months from now or 4 months from now. So that's why we don't have any chargers in here, but the funding is available for those. I've also talked with the village and asked them to go ahead and proceed with the transformer. We know the size of the transformer we would need. It's a 500 kilowatt transformer. So I've asked them to put that together and get a price for us so that the board can act on that and get that in process, because that does take, they said it might take a year. Although I found some other options, doing a little investigation for some remanufactured transformers that they could purchase that would be available sooner than that. So the goal would be to try to have that in place when we get the buses in time for next school year. So that's kind of the status of both those parts. I don't know if I answered all your questions.
Mine was about bus garage, the length of the buses, if we're doing service on them, will those buses fit?
They will not fit into that building. They are 71 passenger buses. They're too long for that building. The service that's being done on them, many of the schools that have these keep them outside and have their charger set up outside. That's not an uncommon situation. And all the service provided for them is done through a 5-year warranty, a service contract with the company. They have mechanics all over the state. So they will take care of all the maintenance and service that needs to be done on them during the 5 years that we're required to use them. After the 5 years is up, then the board will have to decide if we enter into an extended service contract on them, or if you, how else you're going to manage the service, or stop using them and buy diesel buses. You only need to use them for 5 years to meet the requirements of the grant. So you have 5 free years, and then, in essence.
A couple more questions.
Sure.
So if we didn't have a grant, these buses would have cost almost $400,000 a piece.
Absolutely.
Okay. Deb, you've driven one?
I did.
One?
I did.
You happy with it? It handled like you thought? It drove okay? No problems? You're happy with it?
I was not sold on electric buses at all until I rode them.
Okay.
So, my biggest concern was just the power, you know, because we cross M60 a lot, we do go up M66, you know. So I didn't want to get going and then not be able to go. But they actually have more power than a diesel bus. The
Electric have a lot of torque.
pickup is right there. I was very pleased. I did have, you know, the mechanic or the technician on the bus with us. Sarah was with us, and any question I asked, he was right there. He answered it. He was explaining how you can do a certain braking to put a little bit of charge back into the battery. Different options that you don't have to use your brake. There was all kinds of really neat techniques that these buses offered. So yeah, I was very impressed with it. Mr. Katz knew that I wasn't on board.
She was one of my naysayers when I started this. One of many naysayers. I think I was the only one that wanted to pursue it in the beginning, but when she went and drove one, she came back and she was on board.
I did a lot of talking to him. I mean, I went to an MAPG conference and they were there. So he spent probably about 45 minutes with me off the side in the conference and answered my questions and showed me brochures and stuff. So I was very impressed with the company as well. So, and then we had a good tour while I was there. But yeah, I'm all about the electric. I think we'll be okay. Not so, you know.
Good. That's important to me that you're on board.
And they have neat features that I think will benefit the drivers as well. You know, one of it is the AC in the cab area. So, you know, that would be nice. There's a forward and backward camera in the student corner of the student mirror, which will help with backing because they are a little bit longer. I mean, our buses now are 30 feet long. So, and they haul 63, these are 72, so add another 5-6 feet there. So, I think that those cameras will help. A little bit of adjustment, you know, in driving them, but all pretty much the same to handle those things.
They're quiet.
They are very quiet. Very quiet.
I've heard that's a pro and a con because people don't hear them coming. They're used to hearing the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more question. I don't know what financial bank cost for electricity comes out of versus the cost for diesel fuel, but I'd like to know over time how much money it does save, because they talk about it.
$27 is what I figured it would cost to
What's
fill
that?
it. 246 kilowatt batteries at 11 cent kilowatt hours, like $27.
11 cents? That's cheap. Where do
They-
you get that
That's
stuff?
Union City's rate.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I need to call consumers.
They told us even based on consumer rates that it's less than half the
Okay.
cost to run.
I understand the estimates. I want to see a year from now, did it save us money?
I
So
don't
is
know
that,
what
is
your
that easy to
battery-
do, or is that hard to do?
that's-
Because you can't get a breakdown for the buses. Maybe is it going to be a separate service then?
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah,
Okay.
if it's a separate
It'll
transformer,
be-
it'll probably be a separate
Okay,
service.
so I would, if you can
Separate
track
meter.
that, I would like to know, diesel
Yeah,
costs
I'm
for.
sure
$47
that's gonna be
a
its
full
own.
battery.
It'll be a separate meter. I mean, probably the lights in the building and that stuff will be on the same.
We still have a little bit
Meter.
of diesel costs in these electric buses in the wintertime because the heater, we ran off of
Diesel heater.
No, these do not have diesel
No,
heater.
no diesel heater?
No, the Holland ones had a diesel heater, but that looks good.
Electric.
I think
Uh,
it's right.
Have an electric heater, which
They did, okay, I'm bad.
which we checked. They checked with other schools that have them, and they say
They will have
the heating's not a problem, that it's good, and
should be reduced range though.
there will be a somewhat reduced range in the wintertime, but our longest bus run is 78, I think it's 78 miles morning and afternoon together. And you can always charge them in between. And even if they said in the winter it might go down to a range of 90 miles. Well, if you just plug it in when you get back, it's going to be topped off before you leave again. Even if worst came to worst, you could drive, because we have some buses that are only driving like 45 to 46 miles a day. So you could have one of those take the morning run, drive the other bus in the afternoon, and vice versa, if necessary. I don't think that will even remotely be necessary, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. And we'll still have 4 diesel buses for
Six.
6. 4.
Okay.
We don't need more than 10. Do you think? Do you think we need more than 10 buses? Maybe. I don't care, Patrick.
The bottom line,
It's everyone you keep you have to maintain.
the bottom line is we're going to get
Not for that.
6 buses for basically, including the charging stations, for little to no cost, as opposed to buying 6 diesel buses at $125,000 to $130,000 a cost.
140,000
Okay.
pieces.
Might be more than that too.
Yeah.
That's what they are now. If you bought one a year, by the time you got to the last one, you'd be probably be 180. The way
So
things are going.
I think it's a
even if
worthwhile
these
experiment.
fail, we're still saving hundreds and hundreds of thousands
For
of
5
dollars.
years.
Yeah. And it might fail. I would not be surprised at all in 5 years if you're sitting here going, all right, we're done with those, we're going back to diesel.
Right.
I would not be surprised at that.
Three Rivers has
But
had them for a long
it's
time.
free.
Since like 2019,
All right.
right, Sarah?
It's important to me that the service guy
2017, yeah.
talked to you and responded to your phone call, because those are things that concern me. If they're on board and they're taking care of us, I think the risk is relatively low.
Yeah, there's large school districts that have had them since 2017 and 2019.
Yeah.
Like some of the first ones, like Grand Rapids, it was either Grand Rapids or Kentwood, I can't remember now.
Right.
But they were one of the first, they bought some of the first buses, which Hoekstra had, and they're still purchasing them. Like, obviously it's something that the and, I mean, I realize Michigan's Michigan, but I feel like Grand Rapids is colder than here. I live there and I feel like it's colder than it is here. And if they were
Yes.
warm enough on the bus there, then I don't feel like it would be a problem here.
Closer to the lake.
They get twice as much snow as we do here, I know that.
Yeah.
Right, my kids.
The batteries are supposed to last 10 years at least.
Okay.
So
That's pretty good.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, motion carries.
never thought when we started this we'd get a unanimous vote.
I want to see a lightning bolt inside of each bus, though.
All right,
a long
Can I say
process.
one more thing?
next up is group contracts. Board action is required to approve the group contracts for food service, paraprofessional, and secretarial for 2025-26. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
There's one missing.
Did I miss transportation?
You did?
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
all
can
right.
we-
okay,
Is that Robert's rules?
You can add it with the
just
motion.
restate,
Yeah, could you restate
Maybe
the
restate.
motion?
Oh, actually, I need to restate it. So, board action is required to approve the group contracts for food service, peer professional, secretarial, and transportation for 2025-26.
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you.
Still
Thank you.
supported.
All
Thank
right,
you.
we're saying that's good enough. All right, discussion.
This is where you went to salary versus hourly, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay. Other than that, there's really no changes to these
It was the
33-page documents.
3% increase. We switched the paraprofessionals to salaried instead of hourly by calculating their number of days work times their hours times the hourly rate. We came up with a salary. They will then be able to get that pay over the spread out for 26 pays, so they'll be paid all summer, which several of them really liked that, to have that flexibility, and during Christmas and, which is a time when they normally don't get a check.
Not working.
So this will work out better for them, and I think it has advantages for us as well as I explained in my notes to you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up, individual contracts. Board action is required to approve the contracts for 2025-26 as presented for the individuals listed below, which is Amber Case, Jamie Thomas, and Michael Bates. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
This is a 3% increase as well.
Yes. Plus, we adopted the salary schedule, and the salary schedule is actually next. Maybe we should have had that first because their contracts refer to the salary schedule, but so one of them was moved up to where they would be on the salary schedule. So they had a little more than 3%, but it aligns with their experience in the jobs then over 5 years. I can talk about that more in the salary schedule portion when we get to that as the next item. I've discussed it. I think we discussed this in both the subcommittees, personnel and finance. We went through that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up, salary schedule. Board action is required to approve the salary schedule as presented to meet the requirements of the Michigan Office of Retirement Services. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
So the salary schedule is a requirement due to, it's a lawsuit that was primarily fought out over superintendents, but applies to any employees where you have 3 or fewer in your group. When you go to apply for retirement, they go through and they want because the law in retirement says that you get your pension or your retirement benefits are based on the average of your last 3 or 5 years, and so then they look at and compare what you got compared to your salary schedule. Well, most employees that are in a 3 or fewer haven't really had a salary schedule. It's just whatever is in your contract. And what was happening was some, primarily superintendents, were getting these large increases in their last few years. And because the board wanted them to have those increases, but then the state ORS was reducing those amounts, and so they weren't getting credit for those in their pension. And so there was a suit, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of as I understand it, the superintendents. And what came out of that was this development that districts needed to put in place salary schedules. Now, so it would be possible just to put in one salary for each position and list those. I'm not denying that, but what I decided to try to do, which I discussed in our subcommittee meetings, was to address another situation, which is when we bring in new employees. Like when we brought in a new custodian to replace Kyle when he left, what pay level do you put them on? Do you put them at the same as the guys that have been here for 30 years, 40 years, 35 years? Do you start them lower? I started him lower, but then, you know, at what point does he move up and make the same pay as those guys? And how is that done? Or is he stuck waiting until he's, you know, 25 years down the road before he gets up to where those guys are? And so what I did was I did a standard sort of 5-step salary schedule. So when someone new is hired, they have a starting wage for that position, and then over the first 5 years they advance to where they're at that level. That is then considered the full pay for that position, and that's what's been implemented here. And I did it in such a way to work our current people who have been here more than 5 years in at the top, and then the ones that are at a lower level to put them at a level that's appropriate for them, and then I split the steps out in between. So for example, with the principals, we've got 2 people that have been here 5 years, and I corrected something in here, and if the board you don't want to adopt this, you're free to vote it down and ask Patrick to develop a new one, but I'm not sure I discussed this with you in the subcommittee, so I just make sure you're aware of it. It's something I've often felt was unfair, that the high school principal made more than the middle school principal made more than the elementary principal. I thought that was an anachronism going back to the 60s or earlier, where the high school principal was a man and the elementary principal oftentimes was a woman, and the high school was deemed to be the most important or the biggest job, and so they made more money, and it went down. And I just have often felt that was inappropriate on any number of levels. I don't see any difference in the amount of work and the responsibility on either one of our principals. In fact, you can make the case the elementary principal has the biggest load. He has more employees, he has more teachers, more paraprofessionals, and more students than either of the other buildings. But the high school principal has a lot of evening activities and other things to be involved with, and groups and those kind of things. And the middle school principal has to deal with middle school kids. And so I just felt it was fair to have one schedule for the principals, and so I put Michael on second step. This is the second year, and our other 2 principals on the top step. And so that's what's in there. I don't know. I explained all that well enough. If you have questions, and like I said, if you don't like what's in this, you're free to turn it down. And
Just for clarification, the numbers you used were based on numbers we've been paying, not necessarily. Okay.
they're based on what I took people that we are currently paying. So like for our custodians, I gave them a 3% raise, and our 2 that are at the highest are at step 5 with that 3% raise. And then I took what Tyler, I don't want to use his name, but our other custodian is
Custodian A.
is making, and I put him based on his years where he would be with a 3% raise, and that made those 2 steps, and then I split the difference in between. You know, does that make sense? To put the scale together, because I wanted people to fall where they would currently fall on those steps, but to all have a 3% increase. So the only one really that got anything other than a 3% increase, I think, would be
You need it with those middle school kids.
Yeah, I mean,
Emotions.
the only question I would have is
Much does it-
how we decide if we have 5 or 10 or 6 or whatever, and what's the max, but we don't have to discuss that now.
Yeah, I kind of just, I went with 5, and this is something, so a real advantage of this is, for us, that Oris is doing this, is now when we hire someone, Patrick doesn't have to go, like I was, okay, now, if we're hiring this person, what are we paying so-and-so, who's also doing like a behavior interventionist, and we want to hire a new behavior interventionist? Okay, so she's making this much. Well, how many years has she been here? And so how do I figure out what to pay this person? By having it all laid out, it'll make it much easier to say, this is what the job pays. And then you just need to, when you want to talk about wages for the future years, you look at the schedule and you adjust the schedule, and then as far as the contracts go, you just refer to the right step for each person, and you're done. as far as figuring wages. So should make that process, I think, much easier going forward.
One concern I have, and that I can't. There have been times when we haven't had enough money to give everyone a raise each year, so I just, my concern would be that people would expect that I get this raise every year because I've been here, and we may not be able to do that. Want to, but it's not a guarantee. So,
The steps, there's nothing in their contracts that says you will get a step each year. The steps are whether someone gets a step or not is left to the superintendent and of course the board. And same as when we do negotiations with union, I still have teachers who bring up, even as recently as this last week, Thursday, last week, that a couple of years they didn't get steps. And even though that was however many years ago. And so it does happen, and you absolutely have the right to, as a board, to say, no, we're not advancing steps. We don't have resources to do that. So.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up, superintendent contract. Board action is required to approve the superintendent contract for Patrick McCurr for August, that should be the 31st, correct? It says August 30th. Shouldn't that be the 31st?
Should be September 1.
September 1st.
That's
Okay.
That's the way his contract reads.
That's what I thought. I was like,
I
this
changed
isn't
it.
fair. That's right.
You changed the contract?
Because it said August 30th, and I'm like, dude, I'm still here.
That's why that's how,
So I
yeah.
changed it to the 1st.
Okay, I put it, because that's what it said on the contract.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
change
did say that on the
September
contract.
1st.
But we changed that, didn't we,
Yeah.
Patrick? Yeah.
And the contract says
Yeah.
that, so, okay.
Okay, let's start over.
Sorry.
Board action is required to approve the superintendent contract for Patrick McCurr for September 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028 as presented. I will entertain a motion for the same.
support. Okay.
So moved. You mean so
I
moved?
mean, so moved. Gosh.
I've done it too. That's okay.
Sorry.
I do need to support those.
Support.
Thank you.
I saw Darren moving his mouth.
No, I was trying to figure out what support meant.
Discussion.
Oh, boy.
Just a question, I guess, and I apologize. I didn't have time to look at this a long time. It was given late, and I also was busy today, so I think I'm curious to see where the salary fits relative to other people, other districts, other people with the same level of experience. So I know that it appears that it was based off of what Chris was making, and I just had I didn't know if that's what it was. I don't want to get too far into personal information, but I just don't feel like having information to pick that number right now. Is what I'm saying.
I have that information if you want to see it. I have the jobs that were posted this spring and what their salary range was. I have it broken out like schools near our size as well, so if you want that, I can get that to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just want to make sure that we're paying appropriately based on experience, and I have no problem with Patrick. I voted for Patrick, but I'm concerned that maybe the salary at which we're paying is not commensurate with the experience. That's all. So, and I do like to see, we had bonus goals for people in the past, but I do like to see some level of, if you do this, you can get the extra money or whatever. And there are people who need some incentive. I'm not saying Patrick does, but sometimes it helps to have that as opposed to just here. So I think they'll do a fine job. I just want to make sure that it's appropriate for the level of experience. That's all.
I felt confident with the numbers that Patrick had given me, and the fact that he did talk through that with me about the fact that they were based on the area, our size, all that sort of thing. So we did talk through that when we discussed this contract.
Like
and I felt comfortable with that.
superintendent at other places been there for 20 years. That, just because of the same size doesn't mean necessarily that they should get paid the same, in my opinion. So when I started as an engineer, I didn't get paid. Senior engineer level, I got paid. I got there, but I didn't start there. That's my concern.
Right.
yeah, I would need, I'd like to see that before I would be in favor of it, I guess. So,
Well, we need to have a contract before next month.
you all can vote for it,
Okay. All right.
and I can vote how I want to vote.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying we need to get him in place.
I understand.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same.
No.
And the motion carries. All right. Next up, middle school teacher hiring. A motion is required to hire Rachel Bowers for the position of middle school ELA social studies teacher. And I will entertain a motion for the same.
Support.
Discussion.
She's worked with us before, or
She did a long-term sub in the spring. She just graduated this spring.
and you like her?
I taught her.
That's not what I asked.
So that's a little difficult.
I said, do you like her?
So I wouldn't have hired her if I didn't like her.
That's what I wanted to
So,
hear.
yes, I do like her.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. All right, that's the end of our action items for tonight.
Can I ask if we take about a 4-minute break
Yes, I know
before we
we've been
do
going for a long
discussion
time.
items?
Yes.
And
Let's come
I
back
need to
at.
use the restroom to get
Sure.
set up.
Can we do 5 minutes?
Yes.
Back at 8?
Yeah.
All right, take a quick break.
That's the.
Show maybe the blueprint
Oh.
they gave us. Like my assumption.
I just wanted to see. I don't trust that.
There's like, they were talking at the same time, so I want to make sure.
Which one?
Financial, you have Lamar. Okay, Yaki, yep. And then Chris's retirement.
No, you're right.
Says it Darren and oh, John, see? I knew I didn't hear that one right. And then mine,
Oh wait, no, Darren
There's
Arch
things I
for
didn't
Chris's,
know.
Darren and Jen for you.
Darren Arch. Okay, there we go. Darren, okay. And then you have Yaki Steel.
For the buses?
Buses?
Yes.
Okay. And I think that might be it. I think I have the rest of them.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to, do you want to do some signatures
I might
right
as well.
now, since
Yeah,
they're already
sure.
done?
Yep.
This, I need your signature here, and this is for the audit,
Okay, governance signature.
the government signature. That'll be Chris's on the management.
Okay.
Familiar with the district for a long time.
Patrick's, and I'm going to change the front page to say September 1st. So you'll sign that.
Family didn't watch me.
Michael?
Well, the argument is dying.
Not much.
Amber?
I know.
Amber signing the Ambers.
We got 9 times less.
It's so funny because growing up as a kid, nobody had my name.
That's Jamie.
The
This
accountants with the
is
so I think just
food service.
so it's all about the kids and stuff, but I'm quiet. Yeah.
Secretarial?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh no, wait a minute. See, I am missing that. No wonder I didn't have that in the motion.
You didn't have.
This is transportation. So who am I missing? Oh, maybe that's 4. That's right, right? Yeah, I have them all. I wonder who I missed putting them in the motion.
Well, if you find one that I need to sign, just let me know and I'll run up and sign it.
Food service, parapro, secretary, transport. Okay, we're good. And then this is the new L for 4029 that has the reduced rate on it that we need to have.
This was in there this week. Yes.
What's it for?
Yeah.
Building drawing.
Oh yeah, 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 right.
Yeah, right, right there.
Yep. Now I'll just look around.
That reduces.
We can re-vote if you want. I talked to him last Thursday, and I'm going to reach out to everybody probably tomorrow and try to have a time to talk with everybody individually. School stuff, not school stuff, whatever you want. I just want to let people know before I reach out. Kelly gave me your cell phone number, so I'll probably call you.
You're planning on retirement, Chris?
Just relax. Check out something in the box today.
I did.
Usually I count those too, and I know which ones, so I
I was a
missed
test.
that. I did, I failed.
Sure.
2 or 3 days, so.
Yeah.
Why we now
No,
have
before you get a chance to
No, no worries. Yeah, I work from home.
you blame me.
Pretty much available most times.
during the school day.
Yeah, whatever works for you. So, maybe a couple times, you won't pick one.
Now, hopefully this will work for you.
I told you last Thursday. I'm going to reach out to you tomorrow.
We already approved for retired.
Sure. Yeah.
I got talking to Thursday.
Oh.
I would come on and talk to you about it, but I don't want to have, I do it all at the same time.
I wish my name was on that retirement. What's your retirement?
What's going on with your
I'm worried.
The township.
I blame the Wi-Fi every time.
You should probably talk to the tech director about
It's
being
that new
involved.
tech director. This never happened when I was there.
It definitely did.
Allowed.
There's an HDMI cord
It's in
there.
the code book twice. As a condition use or as an approved use.
Yeah, but I don't have an HDMI.
So,
Yeah.
we recommended approval because there was no reason we couldn't
So
deny
she
it.
get the new MacBook Pro. It's got all the
The board just said no. So then, Casey was school filed a FOIA request, probably did the value load, and say, I'm gonna spend $90,000 already. So, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. That's why I heard Chad.
You know what's been? It's been ever since they updated this, when they did updates on it, and it hasn't, we've had trouble connecting to it.
I said the same thing earlier today when my laptop didn't work the second time I tried to use it, but it worked the first time.
I never had trouble with it before.
I went and got that. Can you please go fix my computer? I'll be right back.
Oh,
Chris, did you forget everything in 4 years on the tech side?
Pretty much. I tried to. That's not HDMI, that's USB.
I don't think I have an HDMI one.
I knew where there was one in your desk not too long ago, but.
Yeah, those are at home in my. No, Plan B. Plan B. We use the projector.
Okay.
We need to have them undo the update.
That's why they need to put HDMI ports back on laptops.
Yeah.
This is fun.
I was getting my another attachment to be able to tell you. You never know. When we have presenters come on, like, I'm a Mac school, you need to make sure you have the approval, like, I'm not ready for that, make sure you have your stuff.
Oh, really? What are you gonna do
And
with
then I
that?
usually
I
get an email
plugged it
to
in
me,
and
here,
that came up
can you just
and that
project
screen
for
was
me?
like
Yeah,
popping.
no
So one of my old and it just gave me the questions.
oh my.
No, these only work for the iPad.
Display port.
That doesn't want to just locked in the room.
Link
Yeah,
it
it only
all
works
thing
for
and
the iPad.
everything.
And then they moderate.
All right, here we go.
I'm not concerned. I have one projector in my building and I projected it. It's now in my office because it was for MIA.
I'm gonna use that. Move them like this.
Yeah.
So you can
Okay,
see
I
it.
want hours of footage and
All right, this is the, so we got the cost estimates at the end of the SD phase of the project. I have the drawings and I have the cost estimates, but I'll do the cost estimates first because that's what you're most interested in right now, and then we'll look at the drawings and see if you have any questions. But I'm just going to show you the bottom line at the moment. So this is divided into two parts. This is items that have been drawn, that have been actually drawn. They've gone through the architectural drawings on them. They've broken out all the, I mean, they've got every doorknob, every piece and detail broken out, and then budget estimates for all of those things. It's a little they show here bond items drawn 800,000. The reality is there are things that were part of the bond that they put in this 30 million because of how it had to be designed with the stage and the STEM room. We knew that if the bond didn't pass, those would have to be taken out. So it actually is not exactly separated correctly. You'll see here the bond items only add up to 17 million. And actually that should be closer to 19, and this should be more like 28. So, but the total they've got right now is 47,854,000. When I first saw that number, my thought was, oh, we're, but they explained to us that actually it's for this stage of development, that's a very good number. They're very comfortable with that they can do everything that we've got in our plan in budget. Those are very high numbers, very high estimates with contingency money in place, as well as escalation, and they didn't feel like we needed to take any action to change the plan at this time. Now the next phase after this, assuming the plan looks good, the next phase will be to go into DD, where they develop the design further. They get into actual pieces of furniture and equipment, and we have choices to make, thousands of choices, literally thousands of choices to make on all kinds of items. And the other thing that they're still figuring out is how do we move forward with the elementary part of the project now that the bond is passed, because we've done the SD phase for the high school part and the parts of the elementary we were going to do with the grant, and so we will have to do the SD phase for the elementary. They were at the elementary last week doing taking more photos. They have a camera that takes 360-degree photos that they put in every space in the building, and they went around and did that last Friday to get all of that collected. So they're beginning that process, and we've talked about, are they going to be able to accelerate that and complete it so that we're doing one bid package probably in January, February timeframe, or will we need to have a second bid package for the elementary stuff that's in the bond? And we don't have a decision on that yet. They're having meetings between the designer and the architect and the construction manager to try to work that out. It would be to our advantage to do them all together if possible. It's a larger project to bid, so you have maybe more interest because the dollar amount is larger for them to bid on, and potentially lower cost because it's as it gets larger, then the per unit goes down. So that's kind of where we are right now, but the total is well within. Now the project budget there includes both the bond as well as both of the grants that we've received. We have about a little over $26 million in grants, and so all that money is in there as well as the bond. We are still hopeful. I know that there are items that are included in the proposal that are things that we will cut out, that were in there in development early on, that are things we know that we could do without. A number of them were taken out, but there are a few that are still in there. So I'm very confident based on their comments that we are still looking at under budget at this time. Now, later on this fall, after we go through the next phase, and we get hopefully an even more refined estimate, and again, these are just budget estimates, but more refined, we may decide, well, okay, we need to reduce this or make this an optional thing or something like that, because then when you get the bids, that's the point in time when you really know if you're going to be able to do it or not, is only when you actually get the bids. Any question as far as the the budget estimates and on any of that aspect before I show you the drawings. Okay? Did meet with the steering committee and looked at these. Let's start with the elementary. So they've basically in this package they have done the estimates for really just the secure vestibule. Adding a secure vestibule by placing it within our current structure. It actually moves the doors a little forward. It shows it coming right at the corner of the building there. Our doors are a little bit further back than that right now. So the door would move forward slightly, and then the second door would be placed. So the traffic flows into the vestibule. Then there's a transaction window for the secretary, and then the entrance into the office proper, and then a second door to get access out into the building with the students and staff. There's a place for a sick room, as well as the bathroom in the office. Bathroom right across from the sick room, which is handy, and a storage closet as well as the copier. So some rearrangement in that office to make this workable. It's been reviewed by actually Rhonda was involved in developing it this way from a couple of different drawings we had originally. So we took her suggestions and Michael's and gave them to them, and this is what they came up with for the elementary school. Any questions there? All right, so that's really all that's been done so far as the drawings for the elementary. Then we have the existing high school. Let's look at this drawing first. I don't know, how can you see that well enough? So the green areas obviously represent grass. That sort of tan area represents the swing sets. And in their initial drawing, or their drawing at this point. And then you got the parking lot drawn, preserving the trees, you see. And, there are aspects of this that I don't think we care for. One is the dual lane in front of the building with that island down the middle. I think is probably not something we want to go with, but we asked them on the call today to set us a time to meet with their designers who are specifically in this area because of our concerns around traffic flow, how we're going to process buses and students, parents with cars, students with cars. We've had a number of ideas about how to do that. I think we all have uncertainties about how that's going to exactly happen and how we might want to adjust it. We've had ideas such as closing off the drive that goes behind the building because for safety concerns. With 6th grade being on the back there, making that a grass area, maybe moving whatever playground equipment we might have back to that area behind the building, so it's away from traffic, etc. And so that might improve the safety. So we're going to meet and talk with their folks about that in order to make sure, or to as best we can, make sure the traffic flows are going to work. We talked about widening the entrances because there would be 2 entrances here, one for the high school and one for the middle school on that west side. So perhaps widening those to 3 lanes if possible. So a lot of that will depend on the survey, where the borders of the boundaries of the property are, etc. So I think we need more discussion on that before we come up with a firm plan for that. As far as the building itself, Let's start up here at the back of the building, and I'll go through this. If I go through too quickly, let me know. I just don't want to bore you or keep you here with things too long. So this is the back part of the middle school. We've got the 6th grade classrooms, 7th grade classrooms. 7th grade classroom is part of the current locker room. So they have exterior windows here. This area will continue as storage, which is what it is now. We'll probably have gym storage in this area, which is currently football and baseball storage in here. So this will be gym storage. The officials' room will stay and so on. This will be, again, storage. And then this area, this closet will be storage. We asked them about taking the closet out so we could put more lockers here if we needed. And because of the length of the hallway, if we took the closet out, we would need an egress. So we'd have to cut out of here by leaving that in as a closet. We don't need an egress on that end. So we have in the locker rooms, we've got our boys and girls locker rooms off the back, and we have a visitor changing area. So during football season, when the girls have volleyball match and the boys football team is outside practicing, or they have contests at the same time, the girls visiting have a locker space that they can use. There's no showers or anything in there, but we have a bathroom here that's available that they could utilize, and a place to go and be with their coaches and change if necessary. The locker rooms are adequate size. They're larger, I believe, than our current middle school locker rooms in square footage. And then on this side we have the football, baseball locker room space. So they have a place to change for games. The field house locker rooms are not big enough to house them, so we need a changing space for those, especially the football teams, to utilize. And then they have storage space that's added on in addition to that. And that's off the back of the band room. Band room is here. We've got our handicap accessible area here with a lift to have access to the stage and the band room. Middle school enters the band room through the stage area, and the high school enters through the current entrance. We've got added band storage with instrument storage on the sides, and then this becomes a uniform storage area. So if you have a question as I'm going along, stop me, or I'll just keep going.
Question.
Yeah.
What if we have a ADA requiring student from the high school? They would have to go through.
They would have to go through the doors and access this way. So we would need to have a way to get them through the doors and have access that way. Yes.
There's not much changing in the gym, is that correct?
No, not much changing in the gym. We'll do some upgrades there. That's one area where there's a pretty large number for sound and stage updates in there that we'll probably not utilize. We'll probably use a very small percentage of it. Things like replacing the curtain, probably. One thing we need to do is seal the doors that are beneath the stage. That we currently have chairs stored there, and we need to work on a place to store chairs because it's a safety thing that they are requiring schools to seal those. And so, some kid goes under there and gets caught or something, nobody knows where they are, that type of a thing. So that's still percolating what we're going to do with our chairs, and whether we're going to need to have more folding chair storage. Then we have our life skills room here. What we did was took the existing life skills room, which was actually the size of 2 rooms put together, and we made it about 2/3 size. So it's larger. Don't pay attention to the cabinet layouts. That was just something that was put in there to represent those. That still has not been finalized in any way. So we'll have a middle school resource room here, and then another middle school resource room here as well. That will be added into replacing the concession stand. And then going over to the rest of the middle school, the middle school students would have access to the life skills, so we could potentially hold classes in there if they wanted to as electives down the road. You've got the secure vestibule for the middle school entrance. You've got middle school office configuration here, although we're going to make some adjustments to this based on feedback from our middle school principal. And this is the kitchen areas that will serve as the concession stand. This is the restroom area. I think you've all seen something like this before. Have you seen this? Okay. Where we have 9 restrooms, 2 of them are ADA accessible, and then sink areas for students, and then the 8th grade classrooms along this hallway, and then this is a set of doors that all the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders will be behind. That's their portion of the building. And this area serves as their student lounge area and also where people would gather during halftime of the basketball game and that type of thing. So we go over to the high school. The current teacher's lounge in the high school becomes an interventionist space. And then we have our classrooms down the hallway. The lockers are being replaced with top and bottom lockers, so we have enough adequate lockers for all the students in each building. So don't pay attention again to the seat configuration. That's not how it's going to be. In the science labs, there will be a desk at the front of each science lab, a board for the students to view, and then sinks, lab stations on the sides, so there's place for seating in the middle. And then the restroom is modified similar to the middle school ones to allow restrooms for all the students. The number counts have to meet all the requirements from the state on restrooms, so that's all taken care of. Based on our enrollment numbers, it will be more than adequate for our students to utilize. And as we go across, the art room is divided into 2 classrooms, so there'll be 2 rooms there. And then room 14 right here is a classroom. And then this is currently office area has been utilized by Patrick and Grant, and that will be turned into a classroom. And we have a classroom here. Now, one of the things that is an issue the board needs to talk about and get your feedback on is the issue of fire suppression. And because of the level of renovations we're doing, at this level, if we replace this wall, it's currently a drywall wall, our plan had been to replace that with block like all the other walls in the building. But if we do that, that increases the amount of level 2 renovation and moves it up. What we tried to avoid with the gym, we're still at a place where we would need to do the fire suppression. If we take that out and make a couple of other minor adjustments, we do not need to do fire suppression. Now, I'm giving you the explanation as it was given to us, and Patrick was on the call, as was Sarah. They can correct me if I make a mistake in this. Basically, if we do the fire suppression, it means there are a few things that we don't have to do that we have in our plan, like some of the glass could stay in place that we have planned to take out and replace in order to make it a fire barrier. So there is a little bit of cost savings by doing the fire suppression, but overall the fire suppression costs more money. It will cost, the exact dollar amount I don't know, but when it nets out, doing fire suppression could be $600,000 to $800,000. That is not in the budget.
Is there huge insurance savings by having the fire suppression?
I would imagine there is some insurance savings, but it will in no way make up for the difference of cost. You could go out 100 years and you wouldn't come close to making up the difference in cost.
Is that something you do a year after the whole project's done, and that block wall?
Absolutely. So if we leave that wall in place and make a couple other, they didn't even tell us what they were, they said they were minor adjustments, then we do not have to install fire suppression everywhere. And that would save us the $600,000 to $800,000 in the construction costs. So it would mean that we would be doing some of the added fire rated improvements in order to make the building safer in terms of fire moving from one location to another location. And so we have to weigh the pros and cons of, you know, putting the fire suppression in place versus not putting it in place. I asked them, how many fires in school buildings have there been in the state of Michigan in the last 20 years? They didn't know, but they didn't remember one. I'm not sure that it's not like I've been looking for them. The fire suppression, what it would do is it would activate basically sprinkler systems in the area where the fire alarm, you know, the fire was detected, which would effectively damage that area, regardless of whether there was a fire or not, through water. They say it will be limited to the area where the fire was detected, but who knows how limited that will be. Will it be, you know, the 2 or 3 classrooms in that area? Will it be just the area where the fire is? So you might find yourself with a fire that, had it just been the fire itself, you would have had X amount of damage, but because the sprinklers went off, maybe you have more damage. If we have people in the building and the fire alarms go off, do we have problems getting people out of the building? Will the sprinklers prevent people from being in a fire? I mean, it is a block building, so I think the fire will move a little more slowly from one space to the other. And if we are doing putting in the new doors and putting in the other, making sure the walls are all fire rated so it doesn't easily jump from one space to another, that decreases that likelihood.
Did we ever gain anything from having these upper windows? Like any light? Is there a problem with those being covered?
I don't think we would need to replace those by any sense. I think it has more to do with some of our glass that's in between classrooms.
Oh, okay.
You know, overhead.
Yeah.
You know, we have sound issues there. There are a couple other places they said there were some glass that they had planned to replace that they would not need to if we put the sprinklers in. It doesn't mean we couldn't. It just means we would not need to. If the sprinklers are in, you don't have to have everything as fire rated as you have to otherwise. If you don't put the sprinklers in, then you have a higher standard for fire rating, is the way it was explained. Am I getting that right, Patrick? Based on what they told us? But they really need some direction. They said as soon as they can get it, as far as whether they should proceed with putting sprinklers into the plan and how that impacts the budget, or whether they should proceed without the sprinklers and develop the plan that way. It is, I'm not sure. I don't know that one is, I guess, they didn't say that one is necessarily safer than the other in terms of people, human life. It seemed to be more about your desire regarding damage and that kind of thing. And we do have insurance.
Do we currently have fire extinguishers in every room?
We do have fire extinguishers, and they are checked and certified every year before school starts.
I guess I'm not concerned about the sprinkler system at all.
I agree with that.
What happens, Darren brought up a good point. Some people burn popcorn every now and then at the concession stand. I've done it, I'm sorry. Would that trigger?
I guess it depends how burnt it is.
Commercial fire
So
suppression
I've
goes
been
by.
there when it's been
It is
really
rumored
bad.
that
It was
it's
bad
quite
when
What
I-
was that?
It's affected the game, you know, with farmers.
You said it
Oh,
goes
yeah,
by
the
heat?
alarms are-
Usually in
oh.
commercial buildings, but it
He
depends.
knows,
But
he
there's all
knows
bunch
more
of
about it
systems.
than I do.
There's different systems. They're usually
Okay.
heat activated, not smoke activated.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because the smoke
yeah.
can be
But
really bad.
there's multiple different systems out
So
there.
if it gets hot enough,
Okay.
then it goes off.
Yeah. They even got fire extinguishers that have infrared camera that can detect heat and aim the water right at the fire. But of course, that's not gonna fit in our budget.
No, that's not in our
But
budget.
I'm just saying, you know, the only thought I had.
Robotic fire
Yeah.
suppression is, AI
It's a little
fire
bit.
suppression is not in our budget.
Cadillac.
The only thought that ran through my mind is if we do have a fire and we do have a loss of life, the first thing is, well, you just remodeled these schools, why did you put sprinklers in? That's the only con I can think of, right or wrong, that's the only con I can think of. I agree, I don't think we need it. Like you said, I don't know of schools burning down. It's block.
And one block wall determines that.
Yeah, it's a fire rated wall.
It's because of the way that it's explained to me is that if they renovate within a space that's already contained without moving any walls, that's level 1. If they remove a wall, take a wall out, even if they take it out and just replace it, that means that entire space is a level 2 renovation. And if you have above a 50% of your building is level 2, then it moves the whole building into level 3, which requires the fire suppression. So that's the reason we initially, we were gonna use the stage as a weight room we talked about. And by putting a wall across there and making that a separate space, meant we were renovating that whole space, which definitely moved us into level 3. So we took that out of the plan, thinking that would get us down under. Well, when they were all said and done, we're still over. So they said by just leaving that wall the way it is for now, that would keep both those areas as level 1, which means we don't have all that square footage being level 2, which means we stay under level, so we don't have to go into level 3. Does that explanation make sense?
Then we can do that.
So, as far as fire safety, they didn't give us any indication that we would be any safer or kids would be any more at risk if we met the code. I mean, the code is designed to be safe. It's a current building code. And so they felt like, as far as I understood, that it was really a preference for us going forward which way we preferred to go. Image-wise, anytime something happens, people will always look back to, well, what decision was made by who when.
As long as we're code compliant, they don't have
but,
legally, there's nothing they can say.
You know, it's really, you know, I will say, I think when we discussed it, the steering committee was, you know, in favor of moving forward without the fire suppression.
Go drywall.
As I think, as you said, once the project's done, we could always come in and then do another revision and replace that drywall with block if we wanted to at that point in time. So, to me, I would think they'd want a drywall wall taken out and replaced with block because it would be safer, but it has more to do with the code than it does to what's safer. At that point, which is ironic, but so strong feelings either way from anyone. I need to give them guidance. They want it in the next couple days.
Leave it alone.
Okay. All right. Moving on, this space will be remodeled into the high school office area. So the high school students have direct access without going past these doors. So the high school students can come into the office and go out without being in the main lobby at all, just like the middle school. And they have access to the counselor's office right here directly without going through the office. And then we have the principal's office. They have a conference room and waiting area in the secretary's area here and our other secretary in this space. On this side, then we have the current office is made into 3 areas for ISD staff that work with both middle school and high school students, whether it's speech therapists, psychologists, for whatever reason they might be in the building, they have an office space they can utilize to work with students from either side. And then the teachers' lounge is in this area of the office, and this is the athletic director's office and storage area. Right now, the athletic director has storage in a number of places. She has storage down in the concession stand area that we're taking out, and she has storage in her own office. So she will have space to store things in addition to her office space, and then this will be a window where it can be sort of like a school store for buying charger gear. People come from the outside to buy passes, adult passes, those kind of things. So they have access to do that without going through the high school office and so on. And then into the new wing, which is shows the STEM lab, media center, art room, pretty much configured as you've seen before. The kitchen area, we're still working on the kitchen cafeteria. We're not satisfied with this layout, but it's basically that size. Patrick and Jamie met with the food service consultant last Friday and had some discussions about that, so they're developing that further. Then we have we're calling it a platform rather than a stage, because if you have a stage, it has curtains or things that can lower down from the ceiling, which we are not going to have. And by not having those things, by not calling it a stage, it's less cost in some way. So it's a platform. It does have, it is ADA accessible. It is only 2 feet off the ground, not 3. Otherwise the ramp would go way out to here. But apparently that's pretty typical for a platform in a cafeteria space. And then we have storage for their backdrops and other materials, as well as storage for tables and chairs, etc. And then this becomes the new electrical switch area for actually the district's electrical service will come through there.
If we're keeping the stage, is there a reason we need the platform for this?
It's the middle school stage.
Oh, this is all just for.
Well, that is in the
gym.
that is in the gym. We wanted the platform there for more reasons than just that. It's because the high school stage is really not a great setup acoustically or anything for performances. This is going to be a much nicer setup for them. It'll still seat 300 to 350 people, and the sound quality will be much improved over what we get in the gym. Plus, it's a lot less expensive to put in the sound equipment and so on, and the lighting than what we would need to put in the gym. So we aren't planning to do any of those upgrades to sound and lighting and stuff down there that we were going to do.
Okay.
And then you have your wrestling room and your weight room. Their square footage is the same as the existing square footage, same or greater as the existing square footage that they have. There are some changes. I want to make this a square corner here, if we can, just to give them so it's a square space and that doesn't stick out into the room. There are a few minor changes through the whole thing that we still are adjusting, but those are things for really the next phase. Wrestling mats will be stored in this area, which is currently where the tables, or the chairs, and the floor mats, the vinyl floor mat for the field house are stored. So I had them move this wall forward about 1.5 feet, and then put a wall down here, and so all 3 of those will fit end to end going down this narrow storage space. So the vinyl floor mats and the 2 carriers with the chairs will fit right in there to be pulled out when needed, and that frees up all the space for wrestling mats and wrestling storage. So, any questions?
Looks great.
The steering committee really didn't have any big suggestions to add to it, so I know the few things that we as administrators have talked about to relay to them. I'm supposed to send them an email first thing tomorrow or later tonight so they can begin moving forward with the next phase of development on this. And then hopefully by next Monday or the Monday after that, although the Monday after that they'll be talking with Patrick, not me, but they'll know about whether they are doing are able to compress the SD phase of the elementary project in order to bring that line for one bid. I'm hoping they can. I encourage them to try to do that because it will also make sure we are still on our timeline for getting into the buildings for fall of 27. I told one of the things I told the teachers today was that there's a lot of change ahead of them. And if you keep in mind, if you focus on what it's going to look like in 3 years, it looks amazing and it's fantastic. So just try not to think about what the next 2 years are going to look like. Because the next 2 years are going to be painful in some ways. There will be a lot of accommodating, moving around so construction can take place so that we meet our timeline. But it'll just be an experience. It'll be something that they can all go through together, and the end result will hopefully be a real fantastic thing. So. If there are any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you. All right. Next up is, as a discussion item, is a board workshop. So what this is Patrick and I had talked about this, and it's something that he had found, and that is a superintendent transition workshop that is offered by the MASB, and it's something that we agreed that we would like to have our board do. So what we need to do is see if we have any type of dates that we can give to the MASB to see if they can accommodate what we're looking at as far as times. I would think that, get my calendar out here, the latter part of September possibly, that's when school will be.
And that's why I'd have to give them enough time to get it scheduled and on their calendar.
Right, right. Should we even look more towards the beginning of October?
We could look at maybe that Monday, September 29th, starting that week.
Okay.
How long is the workshop?
Do you know the answer to that?
That description is all that I copy and pasted from their website.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. They asked for dates before we started doing more scheduling.
Okay.
So I did not have an answer.
2 hours is different for me than 4 hours.
My assumption, but
I
I was thinking
assume
around
it's
2.
2. I mean,
Where I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna land somewhere around 2.
Must be in person or virtual.
don't know about that
It'll
either.
be in person.
Oh, is it? Okay, in person.
But if someone come down.
Okay,
October's busy for me, so.
right.
29th of September works for me.
Works for me.
Everybody else?
Works for me.
Too
Schedule's
soon,
wide
man,
open.
too soon.
Yes.
If that day doesn't work for them, would the next day, the 30th, work for people or no?
I can make it work. I typically am
I
busy
think
on
there's a cross
Tuesdays.
country meet that
Yeah.
day, cause I have a middle school one on my calendar and typically they're together.
Mm.
But I'm not 100% sure.
Well,
on
if
varsity
it's,
ones.
that might be a middle school only.
Okay,
It
I
might
wasn't
be-
sure,
if it's
but I
Hanover
know that
Court,
they
it might be
tend
tough.
to do
They
together,
typically
but I do
do.
have a middle school one on that day and
I could
do
try
that
to
with
do this.
Zach.
Well, let's say the 29th for now. I'll reach out to them tomorrow to give them that date to see if it works. And like I said, I'm going to talk to all you guys this week. So if it doesn't work, I can hopefully let you know, and then I can coordinate a few other dates. We'll shoot for that and see what they say.
I'm hoping that we're giving them enough lead time that they should be
I would think so.
able to do that.
Month and a half almost.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Good deal.
All right, next up, information items, new hires.
So, just letting you know about some new personnel that have been hired recently, as well as we had 2 staff resignations. Leslie Wardell, who was here 1 year, has left for a closer position to her home in, where was it she was going, Lakeview? Harper Creek. And Randy Widener has taken a position, you see have his letter, in Gull Lake, back to his love of teaching history.
Great.
Curious why we don't vote on it anymore. Is that new?
The board policies now say that, and actually what I found out is that this is actually the way it's done in most districts in the state, is that resignations are accepted by the superintendent on behalf of the board. And I just provide the information in that. And it was in my email to you. I went over that this is what's in the policies as provided by Troon, and it is what is standard now practice. I actually reached out to Ray Davis because and talked with him last Friday, because we've always had a number of positions, like for instance when we hired coaches that came to the board, but when we hired extra duty positions that are in the same section of the contract, we never brought those to the board. We'd hire them. So we had a mixture of things that sometimes came to the board, and then we also had, at this time of year especially, a lot of times we hire people and they start working and they teach for 3 weeks, and then the board acts on hiring them, and really, at that point you're not going to hire them when you've already, we'd be hard pressed to say they hadn't been hired. And so he said that the law and best practice and what's common policy is that the board hires and votes on contracts for superintendents, that they hire and vote on contracts for administrators, and that they hire any other professional staff, and that everything else is handled by the superintendent, and then providing information to the board. Now, if the board wants to not continue in that, so that's what I've done. I followed what's in the policy now. If you don't want to continue with that in the future, then you would need to, work with Patrick on modifying the policy to be what you would like it to be. But that is what is in the current policy. Okay. And I'm sure Ray would be happy to, or someone from there would be happy to talk to the board about that as well. So it does makes it a little easier for him and saves all of you some time.
Okay. Next up is our second public comment time. This is a section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about the Union City Community Schools. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do we have any comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to board roundtable. Does anyone have anything that they would like to share with board roundtable? I have just a couple things. What with getting our new superintendent, and next year in June we'll be doing an evaluation. It will have been 2 years since we got our evaluation training by MASB. So I would like to encourage talking about doing that again. I'm sorry to say that, but I know that I am not remembering everything from a year ago. And so I looked on their website, and they appear that they have that training every month. They have a date, and it looks to be as though it's virtual. So it is something that we can look at a little closer to springtime, when it gets closer to June. But I just want to kind of get that in your thought process that that's probably something we should revisit again because we won't have done it. And I know a few things changed with that evaluation process. The second thing that I wanted to bring is I wanted to thank Chris for his work. And I have a gift for you from the board.
Oh,
And
do that, but thank you.
I heard that you want to do some more golfing.
Oh, yeah.
And so we have come together to get you a membership at Turtle Creek for next year.
Did you really?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to have a membership.
Walk in like the big guys.
Yeah, you can.
Wow,
You can act like
that
you
is-
own the place.
that is
Because you have a
fantastic.
membership, so you're
Oh,
welcome.
man, thank you all very much.
I wanted to buy you a golf cart with a name on it, but they said
No, wait a minute. I don't think I got that message.
At the bus company, throw one in.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And
Welcome.
Of course, it's in really good shape this year too. The new owners have really done a good job.
I
It's
would
always
say
decent, but they've really done a good job.
I wasn't
it
sure
is, the course is really
It's in
looking,
good shape.
really looking good. But I just will say, I really appreciate working with all of you. I've been very blessed in my 4 years to have excellent boards to work with, and I think we've developed a trust with each other and made it through a lot of different things. And I'm sure that you will develop that in time with Patrick. Probably take longer than it did with me. But I could not be happier about who is replacing me. I'm very thrilled with that, and I feel like that, and especially with these folks that are here that I've worked with, just a great group of people, and I feel like I've done what I could to leave that in a good place. So that makes me happy. And if it all falls apart after this, it's not my fault.
No, because you're going to be busy off golfing.
We know where to find you.
I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be around here.
And on a note with Patrick, I wanted to acknowledge the fact that he's completed his doctorate. So he's now Dr. McCarr.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so congratulations.
One of my emails to him, I Dr. McCurry, kind of.
Well, actually, I sent Patrick a message after we had talked this last week when we were talking about his contract, and I said, okay, I want to honor your hard work. Do you want to be called Dr. McCurr? And I will try very hard to have that, disseminated. He's like, no, Patrick's fine. So we will continue with that tradition. But I just wanted to be sure to say thank you to you, Chris, for all your hard work, because you have really put us in an amazing spot.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh!
I didn't do it this morning.
He's out.
A gift from Mrs. Thomas, middle school.
You gotta turn.
Huh? Oh, I gotta turn.
Back.
I don't remember what it says.
Besides, admit it, you'll low-key miss me, bro.
So,
Oh, very nice.
I was so verklempt this morning when I left. I forgot to take my shirt off when I walked out. So.
Well, you can do it for
But
us. That's fine.
so I decided to do it tonight. So.
Thank you.
For all the people watching.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for board roundtable tonight? Okay. Then I would ask for I would entertain a motion to
so
adjourn.
move.
Support.
Oh, that was fast. Discussion.
Yes.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you
Might
for
be one of
attending.
our longest meetings.